Good morning and welcome to our CALLERLAB convention here in Cary, North Carolina. Today is March the 25th, and this session is on singing called Harmony. I'm Elmer Sheffield, and I have with me Tim Marriner and Tony Oxendine. And these two guys are two as good as singers as we have in the business, and both of them do harmony real well. So we're going to try to give you our ideas as to what we do and how we do it. I'm not going to sing much today because I've kind of got a sore throat, and Tony said that was a good thing. But if they get off track, I'll try to get them back on, okay? What else was we going to say?
Oh, it's being recorded?
Oh, yeah, this session is being recorded, so when we get down to the part to where if you have some questions or comments that you want to add, please come and take the podium mic, and so it will be recorded, okay? Who's going to go first?
Or you? Matters not.
Okay, and having said that, I'll introduce you here to Tim Marriner.
Thank you. Oh, great. Hey, so good to have you all here today. Everybody feeling good? Were you motivated after all that opening session, huh? This is great stuff. Good. The discussion is harmony, and interestingly enough, we have three on stage here, and we hear things, and harmony is simultaneous pitches, chords. They're put together that make the aspect of music sound vertical or have some depth, have a richness to it. Where, let's say, Elmer's singing and epitomizes melody, and he's sitting right in the middle right now, up here on this podium. And flanked are two other notes, Tony and myself. There's usually a higher note or a lower note that can be used not in unison, not an octave lower or up, but somewhere in between that will give Elmer right here more width, more depth, and a feeling of richness that has to sound. And whenever you sing, and we're singing on with the singing calls mostly, but when you're doing singing calls, and most of us are singing the melody line, which is the main key of that particular song, or the main melodic structure of that particular tune. And to give you an example, one of the key elements before you can even start to harmonize is to really understand or know the melody. If you don't know the melody and can't hear the melody, then your harmonies or whatever that you're going to use that is everything other than the melody might not sound harmonious, if that would be the word, okay? So there is good harmony and there's bad harmony, but everything that's not the melody winds up being harmony in an odd way. We have dissonance and consonance. The stuff that sounds good to our ear is the pleasant sound if something feels or sound harmonious. It just seems like, yeah, that just goes together. And kind of like a good meal. Now, you know, if you have pork chops, you're going to have applesauce, and you're going to have certain things on that plate that make it look harmonious. All right? If you had pork chops and then you had beets, and you look at that plate and go, well, I wasn't expecting that. Even at breakfast, you know, you have eggs, bacon, ham, or something like that. But if you wound up with, like liver, you'd go, whoa, that's pretty unusual. That doesn't really go with that, does it? Okay. So there's this feel of the music that's dynamic that comes into play when you want to do harmony, if you wish to add harmony. There's different ways you can go about doing it. One, you can yourself, with the age of computers and digital music, you can record your own vocal and add harmony tracks to it while you're performing it. Or the other way, you could provide a harmonic background with the music on a vocal aspect, and then sing the melody while you're calling. Or you could have, if you're fortunate, 2 or 3 multiple callers at this event, and you're working together in unison, and you're on stage together. Who's going to do what part? So you have to kind of plan those things out in advance. Don't think you're going to wing it and it just will fit together. A lot of times, I know, and Tony and Elmer, you correct me if I'm wrong, but the norm is whoever's taking the lead, whoever's turn it is to do the calling, takes the lead, and then everybody else harmonizes around them. And they just stick with the lead. Now, we know that there are some people who vocally can't hear or sing harmonics. And then those people, we would just know that, all right, this time when we're going to work together, you just do the harmonies, or you just do the melody, and then we'll do harmonies around you. But knowing that ahead of time and planning that and saying that will assist the performance. And that's important, because you don't want to just, sound willy-nilly and then everybody's singing the melody, and the next thing you know, well, he's singing melody and I'm singing melody, and then realize, gosh, we're both singing unison here, so we're all going to sing harmonics, and we change gears at the same time. Well, if you don't have the melody, the structure of that chord diminishes or falls apart. And you have to have that bass melody first before the other things can sound good around it. So just as a matter of an exercise here for a second, if we could, we all know the song Happy Birthday. Am I right? So let's...
Could you give us the words?
Yep, yeah. I get karaoke version if you're interested. Let's just sing the words to Happy Birthday. Ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Now, that's a common melody that most everybody knows. Okay, that's just a common melody. So once everybody learns the melody and you have that ingrained in your mind, then somewhere along the way we can start playing with a harmonic to it. It might be above it, it might be below it, and somebody, though, has to be asked to sing the melody. So Elmer, do you want to sing the melody, or Tony, do you want to sing it? And we can. All right, so melody. So Tony's going to do another harmonic. Which do you want, the upper or the lower one? Or?
I care not.
Cares not. Okay. Well, I'll go up then, and we'll do it this way. So here we go. So.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Damn, that's pretty.
All right. Was that pretty? Was that pretty?
We should go on the road.
I think we could. We could be Mitch Miller's trio, right? The sons of Mitches here. Or the sons of, yeah. Anyway, we had the melody in the center, was keeping us together, and Tony and I were linked to him to kind of do it. And as the tonalities of the melody changed, or as the pitch of the melody changed, we followed it. We went up and down along with him. And sometimes we were further away or than maybe 2 notes away. We might have been 3 notes, 4 notes, 5 notes away, but we kind of went back up and down as we followed the melody along the way. Also, you might have noticed, not only did we have the melody and the harmony, but we also had some dynamic going on there where we kind of sang it boldly, and then we backed off and sang it softly. One of the key elements with harmony is not to overbear the melody. If the harmonics are overbearing or loud and drown out the melody, then again, you folded that chord. It just collapses. So it's important to not overshadow or oversing the harmonics. A harmony is kind of like background music. It should be another part of the instrument. It's in words. We're singing words. We could have done la, 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 las, and it would have sounded good. But we were singing words, and we were background music to that. So it's really good to to practice that. Practice is another good key. The first part where Elmer started off, happy birthday. Tony, we're doing this a cappella, mind you, so we didn't have a music company to start. So we weren't sure what key he was going to start it in. So we sort of had to back off until he hit that first note, then we knew where to go. Okay? Now, if we know ahead of time, if we knew where he was going to go right off, Tony and I both could attack the first note where you would have heard us come right off with hap or hap or hap. And that first note would have been important, attacking that first note. And that comes with practice. The more you practice it, the easier you start to hearing it, and you're feeling good about how it sounds. This richness comes off. Again, Elmer was the bass note. Tony and I were thirds or fifths. We weren't octaves, because if we were singing octaves, we would have been singing in unison again. And a lot of male and female singers can sing octaves apart, but they're still singing in unison, if you understand what I'm saying with that, okay? So it has to blend. You need to have that depthness. Anything else, guys? You want to jump in here? Any of these other things?
Let me just emphasize what Tim was saying. You got to have a lead. You got to have a lead, or you can't sing harmony. So, and some people don't sing harmony. I'm not really a harmony singer. There are times when I can hear a song and I hear a harmony note, but I'm not like either one of these guys who probably can harmonize to whatever you put on the computer. But you got to have a good, strong harmony singer if it's going to really sound good. And also, one of the things I've seen that happens a lots of times when you're working with other callers, and especially now, all of us have people we've worked with for years and years, and you just know where they're going. But a lot of times, the guy who's trying to sing harmony, after about 10 notes or so, he's singing the same thing you are, because he's following you. He's hearing you, a happy birthday to you, and pretty soon he's happy birthday to you, just like, well, then it ceases to be harmony, and it doesn't really sound that great. But however, I'll turn this over to Tony Oxendine. He has a lot of things he can add to this.
Okay, yeah. First thing I did, I don't know if you got, every time I've ever heard a preacher or anybody talk, they come up, they're talking about a subject, and they go and look up the definition. So I went online to find a good definition for harmony. And the first 32,000 hits were for eharmony.com. which I thought was kind of funny. Tim used a couple of words that we need to be familiar with. Harmony, harmonic discord. Does everyone understand what register means? Vocal register? That's the way your voice sounds. In other words, the register of a female voice is higher pitched than the register of a male voice, simply because their vocal cords are smaller. And when they're smaller, the noise that comes through those vocal cords is a little bit higher. The problem I see, I want to talk about some problems first. Some things really bother me. Some of us call it cluster singing, when several guys get on the stage and sing together. I did, didn't I? One of the things that bothers me is when two or more people sing lead. If there are several callers working together and there are two or more guys singing lead, if the register of your voice, in other words, if the tonality and the sound of your voice doesn't mesh, two people singing lead really, really sounds bad. And as Tim said earlier, what we do with harmony is we back up, we support the lead. And there should only be one lead, unless two people, if the register of their voice, if the tonation of their voice is such that it sounds well. I have found that oftentimes a male and a female voice singing in unison, singing the same, because the registers are different, when they sing together, the tonality and the sound is a lot more pleasing than two male voices. Tim and I can sing the same note and be perfectly on pitch and it not sound good. So my advice, if there are more than two of you guys working together and no one knows the harmonic, in other words, someone can't sing tenor, baritone, or lead, then if you're going to sing the lead, back off, because what you want to do is support that one person singing the lead. You can only have one lead singer. You look at the Oak Ridge Boys, you look at the Statler Brothers, the groups that you see, Alabama, you notice that there's only one of those guys that's taking the lead, and everybody else is supporting him by whatever manner they want to do. So my advice to you is that if there are two or more of you on the stage, and you do not know how to sing harmony, then support the lead, but back off so that you don't overpower the lead. Now, there is a difference in singing harmony and singing high or singing low. Oftentimes, and many times, I work with callers, I hear callers, and one caller is singing the lead very nicely, and then the other caller is singing either high or low. And that's not always going to blend. The notes have to be, they have to blend. If you took a piano and you skip every other key, if you started, everybody know where F is on the piano? It's that one right below where the three black ones are. It's that white note. If you alternate notes from that point on, it's F-A-C-E. And that happens to be the major chord. And those are the chords that blend together. Now, sometimes you can blend with a caller. Two callers can blend, and the notes can vocally blend well together and not be a perfect harmonic. It doesn't have to be a perfect tenor or alto or baritone or bass. It doesn't have to be perfect. They blend well together. The problem happens is when the third caller comes in the mix. And then you're going to find that it's very hard to harmonize with a weird blend. So two guys can sometimes sound well, neither one singing the perfect part, neither one singing a perfect lead or a perfect tenor or a perfect baritone. Their blend can still work together. It's when that third caller comes in the mix. And like I said about two callers singing lead together, the same is true if you've got a group of guys and you have two people trying to sing tenor together. I have found there are very, very few true tenors in square dancing. I see a lot of callers that sing high and they're able to blend, but I find very few callers that actually sing the true tenor. The best vocal blend is when you have a true tenor, a true lead, a true baritone, and a true bass. Baritone for me, I hear the tenor in my head when I hear music. And on some songs, I can hear the baritone if I can hear the tenor note. If you want to hear what the notes are, play a song, and if you listen, if there's no vocal on it, and if you want to just hear the instrumentation, and the instrumentation is normally going to be, especially on square dance records, the instrumentation is going to be a lot purer than the vocals, because just because you record a square dance record nowadays doesn't mean that you know how to sing. Listen to the bass note. The bass guitar is going to tell you the lead. If you listen to the rhythm guitar, not always, but oftentimes, the rhythm guitar will be playing the harmonics behind it, behind whatever lead instrument is playing. That's a good way if you want to try to listen to hear. I tried, because I have always been of the belief that you can't teach somebody harmony. I hear it. I can't teach you how to hear something. If a song comes on the radio and there's somebody playing, I don't hear the lead singer. I hear the harmonics behind that lead singer, and I just hear it. I don't know how to explain it. So I tried to find it, because I thought, well, I could be wrong, and maybe there is a way. So doing what we all do now, I went online, and there actually is a way to learn to sing harmony by ear. The lady is called Susan Anders. I do not have her system here, but I went in and looked at reviews. All of the reviews that I see about it are really, really good. It's a 3 CD set for like $22, and the CDs teach you how to sing harmony by ear, so that you hear it. I couldn't tell you an F chord from a C chord from a D chord. I know zero about music, but I hear harmonics. And this CD set teaches you how to hear it. Incidentally, strangely enough, there's an app for that. There's an app. I didn't know that either. The website that you want to go to for Susan Anders is, believe it or not, www.susananders.com, SUSANANDERS. The app is, let's see, where's the app? Got to pull up the app now. It's only for the iPhone right now. So if you search Sing Harmonies, that's supposed to pull up the iPhone app. There's another website you can visit called www.harmonysinging, one word, HARMONY singing.com. And that is supposed to help you hear it. That's probably going to give you more information than we could ever give you. Because if there's somebody that's studied a way to tell somebody how to hear something, because that's what I can't explain. I can't explain to you how to hear it. But please, normally when I get up on a stage with two or three, with three guys or more, and if they don't all know what they're doing, I cut, because I'm figuring we're going to sound bad, but it ain't going to be my fault. And I do weekends where there's 4, 5, and 6 of us on the stage, and everybody is trying to out-sing the other. And that is the biggest mistake you can make. Yeah, you're right, Elmer. It becomes a bunch of noise. Let the lead singer find one person to sing the lead. And if that wants to change each time, that's fine. If you want to have one person sing the lead on number 1, then have another guy sing the lead on number 2, and that's fine. But have one person sing the lead. If you do not know how to sing a harmonic note with that person singing, back off from the microphone if you're going to sing the lead and just support that guy. Don't try to out-sing him, because the registers of your voice are going to create, you may think you're sounding really, really good. And I've done some stuff with guys and thinking, yeah, this sounds really good. And somebody plays me a tape of it afterwards. Or I see it on YouTube and I think, God, I can't believe we sounded that bad. Because it doesn't sound quite that bad when you're on stage. It's when you hear it afterwards that it really, really begins to sound tough. Timmy.
Yep. A couple of things just to play off what Tony just said also is to he is explaining how he hears it by ear. You know, he works it. He can't tell you or explain it. And one of the things is that you can get that way is just simply by practicing. And where you can practice trying to harmonize to the radio while you're driving somewhere. You can record your vocals and then listen to them later and try to harmonize to your own singing calls. That's another way of doing it. But it's the idea of practicing it in some form. If you can get together as a group to practice, then you can, especially if you have a piano where you can start picking keys on a piano and saying, well, hit this note and hit this note, and try to make some blending occur. These are good ways of trying to practice. But the more you do that, you develop this inner ear. I can't tell you it's an F, it's a C, if it's a G diminished. I can't tell you any of those sorts of things. But I know if it sounds good, and I know if it blends well, then we've created this chord structure that really can carry on through the rest of the song. Another thing that you can do that's is when you harmonize, while you're doing the harmony, you can create this tension in the song. And that comes with a little bit of dissonance and then resolving. And what I mean is if Tony hits a note and I hit a note, or Elmer hits this main note, you can go just a little off and then come back to it, to the harmony. That little bit of tension sometimes is good, because then you have this place where you've resolved it, where it sounds well. But you have to create, it's like you have to have rain before you can see rainbows. I hate to use that analogy, but it's the idea, because we got a lot of rain going on. We're hoping we're going to see some rainbows here this weekend, or this week. But the idea that you can actually do vocal dissonance and then come back with something that sounds good and something that sounds more harmonious. Another thing, and we were chatting about this, is trying to harmonize by layering lyrics or echoing lyrics. And a great example of that is the Play Me Some Rag song. Should we play that for him? All right. So if you're not familiar with Chinook Records, number 82, I think it was, called Play Me Some. All my songs have the numbers right by them, so I remember. I could tell you what they are. But Play Me Some Rag is a great one.
Now, this is actually two songs, and you combine them together. So, and what we can actually, since we're doing two songs, we can go several different ways with this thing. We could have one guy singing one song in the lead. We could have another guy singing a tenor with the lead, or a tenor or a baritone with the other lyric. So it's really got some neat. It's got a neat feel to it. Goes like this.
Yep.
Get your microphone, Elmer. Here we go.
I don't know this.
Then it's time you learned
we got
it.
lyrics too. Then
You got, all right, Elmer. It's won't. Your part is won't you play a simple melody. That's your part.
That's right. So we're talking about melodies now and counter melodies. Okay.
I don't know
So
this song.
Let's
okay.
put it on. Oh, we need a little music then.
Hey, I can do it. I didn't know how loud it was. Let's start it over. Won't you play a simple melody? Okay, I'll get you.
All right, here we
I'll
go.
start you on it. Figure is side space grand square. Won't you play a simple melody? There you go. Like my mother sang to me. Got it? Yeah. All right, start her over now. Now that was all three in unison. Let's start it. Let's do three parts in unison on that before we go to the counter song.
Great idea.
Okay. All right, I'll start you off. Side space grand square. Won't you play a simple melody like my mother sang to me? Alabama left and you either ring it. Don't fit good old-fashioned harmony. Play a simple melody. One more time now. Now we're going to put the other two parts in.
Won't you play a
We could, yeah. It does, yeah.
Yeah, okay, here we go. Now here comes the other two parts in it. I'll tell you when you come in. Then I got to find when I come in again.
You want to go playing on which part? The counter melody, or
You do the counter and
I tell you what's confusing, folks,
I'll do the counter.
is they're telling me to play a simple melody, and they got funky music
go.
up on the screen here.
Oh,
here we go.
hold on. How'd that happen? There we go. All right, so here we go. Here's the song again.
Two tenors, one harmonizing with him, the other harmonizing with the other lead. Side space, grand square, musical needs. Sit your head, come on and play some melody. Just change that classical nag to some sweet musical track. Alabama left and you either ring if you can play from the top. The melody that's chopping, swing. It's one time around. Sing to the right or left to turn them around. Why don't you swing through and then come on, swing through again. You're gonna swing in the promenade, and that is simply because I love to listen to rag. Now, is that the first time that Tim and I have ever done that? No, Elmer had never done it.
Absolutely the first time I ever done it. Sorry about that.
And that's the part that goes back to what Tim said earlier. Be sure you practice. Listen to it, because we've probably done that song 100 times over the years, and we put the same figure in it and the same phrasing. But the point is there's two different songs going on, so we can actually bounce off one another. Some sing the lead on one of the tunes, the others sing the lead on the other tune. Then you could have a harmony guy work either tenor, baritone, and sing with either one. Or you could actually have sing the lead on the main part, which is Won't You Play. Tim could do the tenor on the counter melody. I could do the baritone on the counter medley.
So if you have 6 guys on stage, this would be a perfect song to do.
This is a good one to do.
If you're going to do the cluster sing.
How many of you guys, see, it's not always about just 2 notes blending together. Like Tim said earlier, true harmony is everything that's not the melody. So you could actually have like rhythms going on that create a nice harmony. How many of you guys ever do the square dances over and the gold rushes on? Okay, well, that's got all the ratter chatter. One guy singing the wind in, wind out, and the other guy doing ratter chatter and all the way through. That's harmonics. And the neat thing about that one is you both can sing the lead on that. Since you're not singing in unison, you both can sing the lead. One guy can sing wind in, wind out, and the other can do the ratter chatter on the lead, and there's not a harmonic discord there like it would be if you were both trying to do the lead on that. Make sense?
Right. And not only, if you notice on that last song, Play Me Some Rag, we weren't just singing the tags. In this particular example, we were singing everything together. The figure, the works. A lot of times you might just let that person sing and then you're only singing the tagline of that particular song. And you're only worried about 8 or 16 beats of music in that case. When you're going to do the entire song, especially where we know that there's key changes in this, you have to be aware there's a key change and know that, okay, it's going to go up a step. We all have to know where to go when that happens and not reclusterize. Is that a good word?
Reclusterize.
Reclusterize is a good word now.
Hey, have you got Old Lonesome Me? Can you do that one? Okay, here's another one. Here's another one that this is one of these old standards, and we can do the same thing. We've got counter medleys going on. It's kind of neat. It's the old rhythm, Old Lonesome Me.
183
rhythm. I knew that rhythm.
How about that? Well, now the 4 little ladies chain gonna turn up with an arm around. We'll roll her away, then circle around. We'll roll her away and circle around. Alabama left that corner and weave it rain. There must be some way I can lose these lonesome blues. Swing a little girl and bring me promenade too. I thought of everything from A to Z. Oh, lonesome me.
Let's do that again. Tim and I are going to actually sing something totally different than what Elmer's singing with the same figures, and we're going to support him up. We're going to say the same 4 ladies chain. We're going to phrase it differently than Elmer's phrasing it and just kind of fill in the background on it. And then we're going to stay way in the background on that. As we come to the part that there's actually the singing where we'll come with the 3 parts, then we can come back in a little more vocally and then broaden Elmer's vocal. Goes like this.
Well, now 4 little ladies chain go turn up with an arm around. We'll roll her away and circle around. We'll roll her away and circle around. Do a Alabama the corner lady weave. Well, there must be some way I can lose these lonesome blues. Swing that girl around and promenade too. I thought of everything from A to Z. Oh, lonesome me.
Now that's a lead, a tenor, and a baritone. We were actually phrasing completely different than what Elmer phrased. But what we wanted to do was not overpower Elmer, because you guys need to be dancing to Elmer. What we're doing is we're supporting him with something that's not what he's saying. We're doing something that's not the melody. If it's not the melody, then it's the harmony. So we're supporting him rather than trying to outshine him. I hate to hear guys when they're trying to sing high or sing tenor or whatever they think they're doing, and it just completely overpowers the lead vocalist. You don't see that anywhere except square dancing when we try to outsing one another. You don't see the Oak Ridge Boys. You don't see one of those guys trying to outsing the other one. They try to sing together to make it sound good. We like to hear ourselves sing, and we like to hear ourselves. And all of us think we sound better than the guy sitting next to us. So we tend to be louder, and then we tend to overpower the lead. Which one?
Yeah. We were just looking at different ones. And there was an old rhythm record that was called Lean On Me. Now, that one had a chase vocal that you could harmonize to, which was fun, where one said, lean on me, and the other one could say, lean on me, right afterwards, kind of chasing it with a harmonic. And those are fun to do on occasion. But you don't want to interfere with the calls. Like if I said, head square through, and somebody else say, head square through, and you're thinking, well, okay, do I do it again? So you have to be careful what calls, especially if it's scoot back, and then the other one says scoot back. Well, do I do it twice? So you have to be aware choreographically what not to say that will challenge the dancers.
That's another one of the things that I really, really don't like when guys, and that happens. Like, I don't know what started that, where callers repeat the call that the other caller used. It really, really gets. If I'm doing the lead, it really, really gets in my way, and it really it doesn't add a whole lot to it, and it could actually, if the call scoot back, it could actually mess the people up.
Yep, especially if it's do-si-do and you hear do-si-do again. It's, I got to do it twice.
Yeah, so personally, I don't care for that. Some guys may make it work effectively. I just don't care for it personally. Questions so far before we get rolling? Yes, ma'am.
We need a microphone.
Yeah, we'd like for you to.
David, do you mind passing that? All right. Thank you, David. And when you do, please say, and welcome. This is the first time here, huh?
I am.
Welcome. So here's what we do. State your name and where you're from, and then ask your question or comment you want to add.
I'm Mary Moody. I'm from New Jersey. So what I'm hearing is there's no sheet music to do like a two-part harmony for any of our music. I mean, I sang in choirs for years, so I know how to do the blend. I know how to not blast. Though that's not usually our job. Our job is to blast more. But so is there not, because I can hit a C if I see it there, and my voice is tenor. I sang tenor, believe it or not. Go figure. So there's no sheet music anywhere.
Not that I'm aware of. Even when we record the music, they don't even use sheet music in Nashville. They use numbers.
Numbers?
Yeah.
So it corresponds to guitar music more than
no, it wouldn't matter. All I know about it is that I can tell you that a lot of the Royal stuff is 11:11 and 11:33, and the reason the guys do that is so they can transpose from one key to another without having to change the keys.
Okay.
So if the song is in C, then C is 1.
Right.
And they have these.
Did the charts go up and down?
We got to get comments on the microphone. They have these musical charts, these ideas, and from instrument to instrument, they can correlate with numbers.
Okay.
So they speak this engineering speech when they're and they say 11, and so the mandolin player knows, and the harmonica player knows, and the guitar player knows what 11 is to their instrument, and then they play those chords, and it's amazing, but it works. But
to answer your question, I've never seen sheet music with square dance. It may very well be out there somewhere. I've never seen it. Even like I say, even with the musicians, you don't see sheet music per se.
No, there could be an app for that, and we don't.
There could
know
be an
about
app
that.
for it.
All right. So more questions, comments, please put them on the microphone.
I'm really enjoying this. My name's Mike Fetting. I'm here in Angier, North Carolina. On the Old Lonesome Me, you made a statement, Tony, and I'm not sure if I fully understand it. I understand the lead. But then you were saying that you were singing two different figures, but you were backing up
same
the lead.
Same figure stated differently. The harmonics that we were using then were not necessarily tonality, but the fact that we were saying the same things he was saying behind him. He was saying four ladies chain the ring, and we were doing something like, well, the four ladies gonna chain that ring and turn that lady go around. We were doing it in the background behind him, using the same figure.
That makes a lot of sense. And I was going to say, if you're doing a different figure, I would be confused if I was the dancer.
And that's why we didn't do it loud.
Yeah,
that's
and
why
I really enjoyed it because I wanted to. I guess I wanted to hear you sing it without the melody, so I could understand it a little bit better. But now it makes a lot more sense. Thank you.
And that way we didn't overpower Elmer, so you were actually dancing to Elmer. And the fluff that you heard in the background was me and Tim, and it was nothing but fluff. We were just trying to make him. We were trying to support him.
It was almost a good foundation.
Well, if start it over again. Same, do All Lonesome Me.
More.
Okay, now, Tim and I do this. We do this the same way. Elmer doesn't do it the way we do, so we can support him. But Tim and I, we use the same ratter chatter, so we could actually do the same ratter chatter with harmonics and go. You'll see. With a four little lady and a chain and a ring and a turn that a lady go around. Hey, you roll that lady with a half sachet, circle to the left or around. Hey, roll that lady with a half sachet, circle to the left, get around that way. Out in the corner of the hall and weave the ring. Now that's the same thing, but we've done it together before. Elmer's never done it with, so that's the way we do it. And just so that you know, nobody was singing the lead that time. He was singing the tenor and I was singing baritone. There was not a lead singer in there, so if you had a lead, somebody could come in and fill in that hole. There's a nice hole there for the lead. But the two blend, the tenor and the baritone really blend well together, even without a lead sometimes. Let me show you guys one. So you can, sometimes vocally we're not perfect. Instruments generally are perfect. Listen to this. Here's a patter record. Oh,
just unplug. Turn that off.
Let's see. I need to. See,
turn the music off.
Yep.
There we go.
No, I need to borrow.
And then it goes like that, and then that'll go in that hole, and then again you got to do that. And
don't ever use the headphone.
You got to put the headphone jack in, and then
let's see
get it.
Let's see what's
Oh no!
It's computer class.
Yeah. Hold on.
And then you got to turn the volume back up on it. Wrong hole. Wrong with the other holes. All right. Well, I don't understand that.
Let's try the other hole.
No, that's even a wrong configuration. I'd hurt. It's a square
thing. This says headphone. All right, I just plugged in an audio jack. Let me see if I have to do this something here.
What's the song?
Oh, no, I'm actually playing the Doobie Brothers. Okay.
Oh, which one? I might have it.
I don't know the name. Let me see if it's going to work.
Oh, yeah.
It's really a good song, though. Listen at the harmonics with the guitars. No, but it's usually when the guys are playing instruments, the notes, it's a perfect lead, it's a perfect tenor, it's a perfect baritone, it's a perfect bass. If you want to hear, I'll tell you a perfect example. If you guys listen to rock and roll music, listen at Hotel California by the Eagles and listen to the guitar solo.
And again, we were mentioning earlier that guitar going ding, way up there like that was what was creating dissonance. It was creating a little dissonance, but then it was above enough, which sounded like a counter melody. It sounded good.
That's not what I wanted. Thought I had it. Never mind. Don't have it there. But if you want to hear some really beautiful harmonics, listen to the guitar solo on Hotel California by the Eagles, because there are two guitars playing note for note, perfect pitched. And if you
so the part that goes
that part there.
Yeah, that's good.
Let's see if I have any other notes here before I have any.
Were there some other questions?
Anybody else have any questions while we're learning to use the computers? Any questions? Any?
I can show you real quick. I can show you. Deborah.
Surely you have a question.
Where's Shirley?
You don't have to call me Shirley.
Thank you. Deborah Carroll Jones from Arlington, Texas. One of I could hear harmony for a little while, and I could sing it for a little while, but then I would lose it. And I would either chase the person singing melody, or I would be singing some melody harmonic that didn't even exist. That was just awful. And it took a lot of practice for me to train my ear to stay true to the harmony. And I did it also by buying the CDs from groups like the Eagles and the Statler Brothers and those that had this beautiful harmony, the Oak Ridge Boys, and training my ear to listen just to the melody, and then training my ear to follow one of the harmonics for a while so I could learn that one and own that one. And that's how I helped myself. And those groups, when they're singing harmony, they have a professional sound man that keeps those that are singing harmony from overpowering the lead. We do not have that. Harmony needs to be felt rather than heard. And how do you get callers who are singing the harmony to back off?
Yeah, this is a good question. I think it's a matter of training, Deborah. I believe that I know singing some of the higher harmonics and tenors that I have to have the volume on my microphone a little louder than everyone else. But on occasion, when I have to stretch and get that high note, I'm pulling my microphone away from me, which does add more treble to the sound too. But if I sing it at full voice with this here, I'm going to overpower or overshadow the melody. And then the chord structure collapse in on itself again. So it's really a matter of training. And if you're in a group and have some outside person say, I can't hear the melody, or this, you're singing too loud, and you have to understand it all has to blend. It can't be just one person. Or we get this phenomena Tony said where just everybody's up there singing loud, you know? And we walk away, and some of the comments we've made in the past is, I don't know, but we were loud, you know? So, or good thing we sang the last note well. Yeah. You know, we got the last note done, you know? So we've heard that on occasion.
You know, I've worked with, at different times, with different callers, and they do things like, This singing together doesn't just happen. Now, you know, there's a lot of us that work together enough that Tim and I could put a song on having never done it, and we could probably pull it off because we work together. Oftentimes, I have guys come in, callers I've never worked with, and we do a dance, and they've got every other tip scheduled singing together. And unless you practice, it ain't going to sound good, guys. Practice is all part of it. Deborah had such a good point a while ago. If one of the big group songs everybody likes to do is mountain music on rhythm, that's one of the ones that everybody does. Well, if you don't know the parts on that, go buy the Alabama CD and listen to the way Alabama does it, and listen for the parts. And then learn how to sing, play the song, play the regular Alabama song, and then learn how to sing the part that the guy singing the harmony is singing instead of listening to the lead. Try to find out and pick out that one guy singing the tenor, the one guy singing the baritone, and try to sing that part with Alabama. It would be a good way to start. And we have another question from Kenneth. You don't need to go all the way back. You can stay up here with us.
Do I have to? Ken Jordan from Virginia Beach. Two things. One, what Tony's talking about right now. Thanks to Tim's advice about a year ago, I am working with a voice coach. Probably the greatest thing that has happened to me in over 20 years of calling. But what Tony said, go buy the song. I'm working on a song right now, and I won't give the name away, even though we talked about it last night. But the first thing my voice coach wants me to learn to do is to sing the actual song. Know and understand the music that's in the song. So, and hopefully I can learn that. But that was the first thing I had to do. And she had me buy the sheet music as well. So she could play it on the piano because it's all in your ear. You'd be surprised how much we can't hear when it comes to music.
And Kenneth, it's an acquired ability. I believe you can learn it by listening and practicing and really working at it, and you can develop that.
You know, as a personal note here, we all sometimes sing something we wish we could take it back, and of course once it goes out, it's gone. I just happened to see Wade Driver walk in the door, and it reminded me of a time when he and I were doing a dance together. And some of you may remember the old song. In fact, Tim just re-recorded it called "Cowboy" on hi-hat. Was it on hi-hat? But it had the notes where you went from the regular note up to the falsetto. Well, Wade and I never called it together before, but we said, "What the heck? We can do this." So we got down to that last note, and we hit that cow and went to the falsetto. The paint liked to come off the ceiling. It was so bad. We've never forgot it. So practice does always help.
Yeah, and you know another thing, and that's a good point, is he's talking about unison falsettos. Probably not a good idea. Probably unison yodeling would not be a good idea. To have let's decide we're both going to yodel, and it just doesn't work.
Just don't
guys.
yodel in my hall.
No.
I'm of the belief there are callers that can sing, and then there are callers that yodel.
But you can't harmonize to a yodel. So if you have a group of people that are singing as a group, and then one decides to break out in a yodel, you just might as well shut your mic off and let them take the show, I guess, and let them yodel.
I can show you guys real quick how we can all sing harmony if you want to take a shot at it. All right, I got to get off the stage here.
Here's your mic.
I don't need it.
You need this for recording it.
Oh, okay, here we go. I'm going to take this group right here up to Mike. You guys are one part. You guys from back here are the next part. You guys to right here are the next part. And you guys, the rest of you guys are the next part. Got your places? Now we're going to start with row, row, row your boat. And then I'm going to tell you guys when to come in. So we'll start. Let's see. What about the key of L?
Yeah, that's a good key.
I like singing an L. All right. And everybody's going to be singing. Everybody will be singing the lead. But because of the structure of the song, if you start it at a certain point, all the notes blend. You'll see what I mean. And we'll start with row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 merrily. Keep going. Row, row, row your boat. Row down your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 merrily. Life is but a dream. Keep going. Row, row, row your boat. Row down your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, merrily, keep going merrily. Life is but a dream. Your boat, row, row, row down the stream. Merrily, 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 merrily. Life is but a dream. Now that sounds like a choir. Give yourself a hand.
Give him a nice
now that's
hand.
harmony. And you didn't have to know, but the structure of that song makes it harmonious just because of the structure. So you can sing harmony. And I'm of the belief with Tim, I believe you can learn it. I grew up singing Southern gospel, and that's where I learned my parts. And so I didn't know it before then, so I know that you can learn it if you work at it.
Yeah, Tony really appreciates that too. That'll be his next release on Royal, and all you guys will get a commission off of it.
Absolutely.
Jeremy Butler, Virginia Beach. The way I understand this, and tell me if I'm wrong. Okay, I'm probably wrong. That's fine. Harmony has very little to do with the music itself. You're harmonizing with the lead singer.
No.
No?
You would be wrong.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, you would be right and you would be wrong.
Right and wrong.
Microphone.
Okay. Tim spoke earlier about the three parts of music. There are three parts of music. There's melody, which is the lead. There's rhythm, which is the beat. And then there's harmony. Anything that is not the lead is harmony. So yes, two guys can sing together with two harmonious notes, that would be one form of harmony. One guy could sing and the other guy could eef. That is harmony. One guy could sing and the other guy could
Beatbox.
Beatbox, yeah. And that is harmony. So you're right and you're wrong at the same time. Most people think the only way you do harmony is two guys singing together or two people singing together, one singing one note, one singing another. And while that is harmony, there are other forms of harmony.
And you're singing also to the instrumentation. Now that instrumentation has a melody, and so you are singing to the melody, not just to the melody of the singer. Now, what's really nice, and you can test those harmonies, is to turn the music off. And if it sounds a cappella, when you're doing it a cappella, and it sounds like you can really hear that blend and the richness and the tonality, as we just had for "Row, Row Your Boat" right there. Right? They're singing "Row, Row Your Boat," and over here you hear the counter melody going da 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 da. Over here da 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 da. So they balanced and they blended a cappella.
And actually, when we square dance, we actually dance to the harmonics. We don't dance to the lead. Let me explain what I mean by that. Some of the things that make square dancing really nice is when you have a song that has harmonics behind it. Knowing that the name of this, and this I think, and Wade's in here, but I've said this, I've done caller schools everywhere. I think this is the finest arranged music. I think this is the best singing call that has ever existed in the world.
What is it?
All wrapped up in you on rhythm. That's right. Have you got it? I forgot I can't play this. But let me show you. I want to show you something if I can. When Jerry Story and I went to Nashville to do when we first decided back in 1986 to do Royal Records, I took a record. We had records back then. I took this to the engineer. I said, I want our stuff to sound like this.
All right, this is All Wrapped Up You, rhythm number 117.
I'm going to play two things from. I'm going to start it over a couple times because I want you to hear two things. Anytime you're ready, Maestro. Here's the lead coming up.
It's the intro.
Here's the lead vocal. You are my good times. Now that's the lead. So I tell these guys, I say this. Here we go. Start them over again. So here we go. I say, listen to what goes on after I sing. Circle to the left. You are my good times. That's what they're dancing to. They're dancing to this other stuff that's going on, not my vocal. Alabama left. Let's get to the figure part. Okay, let's just keep going. Swing with the girl around in your promenade. Cause now here's the figure part. Listen what they dance to. Head square through. There's no lead. Do-si-do. That's when they do the do-si-do to that steel guitar. Boy, run right and Ferris wheel. They Ferris wheel to the piano. Pass through, start through, square through three. They're dancing to this. Swing. So they actually dance to the harmonics. They're not dancing to the lead. The part we give the command on the lead instrumentation. The rest of the stuff, what the dancers actually move to, are the harmonics. So that's why harmonics are a huge part of our activity. So bear that in mind when you listen at. This is not the music session, but when you pick your music out, find music that has harmonics, that has something going on besides. My biggest gripe nowadays is all the callers that use all of this because it's new. I just hate all this 4/4 stuff,
it's all
the
boom,
pounding
yeah.
in my head kind of stuff, and we justify it because it's new, but anyway, that's neither here nor there. Find something that's got parts for the people to dance to. If you give the dancers an enjoyable dance experience, music is the biggest thing we have. To me, music is more important than choreography or anything else we have. I think music is the single biggest thing that sells square dancing versus bowling.
Yep.
And
it's the glue that holds it all together.
Absolutely. And so I look for songs. I look for music that does something after I sing. And I'm like you guys. I think I sing really, really good. But they don't dance to my singing. They dance to the stuff that's going on after I sing, no matter how good we are.
And I've heard Wade say it 1,000 times. There's times to sing and there's times to shut up. right? Let the music do its work. Now, in that last one, there's so much space available for anyone to sing the harmonic to those things. Yeah. So if we're to hear that again, here's the intro.
Circle to the left. You are my good times. Alabama in that corner and you do see-do. Alabama on the left and you weave the ring. Wind in and out around you know. Swing with the girl. Promenade her home. 'Cause I'm all wrapped up in you. But it's all the stuff that's going on. What they're dancing to is not Tim and I, the singing part that we're doing. He's filling in there. He's coming in where that music was and filling in. They're dancing to him. I'm telling them when to go, and they're doing it based on what he's singing and oohing and eyeing and stuff. And that's harmonics. That's what it's all about. And there's no black and white rule book that says harmonics have to be a particular way. Whatever feels and sounds good is what you want to do. If it means that somebody gets in the background and oohs, that's good. If it means if somebody gets in the background and eefs. Can you eef?
Eef, I can eef.
Not bad. Can you eef with both hands?
Yes, I can. I'm a double eefer.
Multitasking. Does that make sense, guys? If you go back to years and years ago to the old-timey, the old-time records, you'll find that when the music was there was not a distinction between when the lead stopped and anything else happened. There was no filler. That's when Wade came out with when he started years and years ago with rhythm. He was the first one probably to really put in a lot of filler,
fills and chases.
I'll give you an example.
Give me the name.
That's right. Pull up Gold Rush. We did that. We talked about Gold Rush. Pull up Gold Rush. Here's this. This has no filler. Great music, no filler. Listen, the guitar's playing the lead. Now there's nothing that plays but the guitar. You know what I mean? Just that guitar's playing the lead, and everything else is.
Yep.
Now, if Wade had recorded this, it would have been something else in that hole. See, there's holes all in that, and that's what the people dance to. Now, and so to me, and that's the harmonics. So to me, the harmonics are probably the most important part. So if we're gonna do something together, I want to make whoever's singing the lead, I want to make them sound as good as I possibly can, staying in the background, and then we as a unit sound good. And the name of the game is you want the whole package to sound good. You don't want the three of us to sing together and somebody come up and say, God, that Tim can sing. And it may very well be true, but that's not as good of a compliment as saying, boy, those guys sounded good.
Yeah, that's it. And I don't want them to come off and say, oh, but we couldn't hear you. Well, that was the point. We blended. We sort of had this fullness together, a richness, tonality, all in one. Good. Any other questions?
Questions? We're going to be back.
There was one more in the back. Nope. Seeing none.
Well, we sure hope you got something out of this.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming and sitting in this session, and myself not included, because I don't want to brag, but there's a lot of talent here on this stage. And these guys know what they're doing, and they know harmony, and they know the leads, and it's like Tony said. I've been in music all my life, and if somebody asked me to teach them how to sing harmony, it would really be tough to say this is the way you do it, even though I know the general idea, and I do know music notes,
yep.
and they do have to be the right notes and have to blend, but it's something you're just going to have to practice that. Get you some music, like you said, going down the road, play the radio. Your wife may tell you to shut up, but you can sing. And
you have to do it by ear first and thought second is another thing to wrap it up with that. Good?
So thanks for coming, and that concludes this session. And I believe lunch is in just about 10 minutes, okay?